I used to think marriage meant having someone's back no matter what. My wife Madison loved pranks for social media. At first I accepted it because I thought it was just her playful side. The harmless stuff hiding my car keys, putting salt in my coffee fake spiders in the shower. I laughed along because I loved her. But there was one prank that crossed every line imaginable. The prank that ended with me in handcuffs on my own lawn and her laughing. I never imagined the person I loved could humiliate me like that. Before I tell you exactly what happened that Friday afternoon, let me know in the comments where you are watching from. Hit that like button if you believe some pranks cross the line. And subscribe because trust me, this story gets worse before it gets better. Now let me take you back to the day my marriage died. Madison and I had been married for 4 years. We met in college when we were 21 and got married at 25. I work as a software engineer from home, and she was a social media manager for a local boutique in our Arizona suburb. We had the picture-perfect life. White fence-friendly neighbors, weekend hikes, movie nights on the couch, cooking dinner together. Everything felt right. But somewhere around year 2 of our marriage, Madison discovered prank culture on TikTok. At first it was innocent stuff. She would hide the TV remote and film me searching for an hour. I found it annoying, but harmless. Then the pranks escalated. She bought me a fake lottery ticket. I genuinely believed I had won $10,000. I was shaking calling my mom, planning how to pay off debt. Then Madison jumped out with her phone recording and yelled, "Gotcha." I forced a smile, but inside I felt stupid. Humiliated. The worst one before the incident happened 3 months prior. I came home from a grocery run and found Madison on the kitchen floor. Fake blood everywhere. Makeup made her face look bruised and swollen. I dropped everything and immediately dialed 911. My hands shook as I screamed into the phone that my wife was hurt. Just as the dispatcher asked for details, Madison sat up laughing. "It is a prank, babe," she said, pointing to her phone propped on the counter. I hung up on the dispatcher and stared at her in shock. "Madison, this is not funny," I said, my voice shaking. "You cannot fake emergencies. The operator probably sent police here." She started crying immediately. "I just wanted views. I will stop, I promise." I held her and forgave her because that is what you do when you love someone, right? But deep down, something felt wrong. I ignored the knot in my stomach. For 2 weeks before the main event, Madison seemed better. Fewer pranks. I thought maybe our marriage was healing. But every night she scrolled through TikTok watching extreme prank videos. I caught her commenting under one where someone called the cops as a fake domestic dispute. She wrote, "This is genius." I saw it. I should have said something. But I told myself she had learned her lesson. That Friday in September started like any other day. I was working from my home office, back-to-back Zoom meetings and coding projects. Madison kissed me goodbye that morning and said she was going to the mall with her friend Jenny. "Love you, babe," she said. "I love you too." I replied, not knowing those would be the last sincere words I would ever say to her. Around 3 in the afternoon, I heard sirens in the distance. I assumed it was something at the Hendersons' place down the street. They were an elderly couple, so I figured maybe a medical emergency. I kept working. But then the sirens stopped, right in front of my house. I glanced out the window and saw 2 police cars in my driveway. My heart dropped. Confusion washed over me. Did someone break in? Was Madison okay? I stood up from my desk just as 3 loud bangs hit the front door. "Police, open up." My chest tightened. I ran downstairs and opened the door. Standing there were Officer Rodriguez, a stern-faced Hispanic man, and Officer Thompson Younger with his hand resting on his taser. "Are you Beaumont?" Officer Rodriguez asked, using my last name. "Yes, officer. Is everything all right? Is my wife, sir? We need you to step outside now." His tone left no room for questions. I stepped onto my porch, my mind racing. "What is going on? I do not understand." "We received a report of domestic violence at this address," Officer Thompson said. I froze. What? No, there must be some mistake. I have been working inside all day. That is when I saw Madison, standing at the side of the house, with her phone out, recording everything, and smiling. Officer Rodriguez grabbed my arm. Sir, turn around. Hands behind your back. Wait, what, officer? I have not done anything. Do not make this harder. Turn around. I obeyed. My hands trembled as I placed them behind me. I thought if I just complied, I could explain. Then I felt the cold metal of handcuffs click around my wrists. Click, click. Locked. I had never been handcuffed in my life. The feeling was violating. Helpless. You have the right to remain silent, Officer Rodriguez began. The Miranda rights echoed in my head like a nightmare. This could not be real. Officer, please, my wife can explain. There has been a mistake. I turned my head toward Madison. Madison, tell them. Tell them there is no. But then I noticed the audience forming. Mr. Henderson stood on his porch across the street, his mouth open in shock. The Garcia family, a couple with 2 young kids, stood on their lawn. The mother covered her children's eyes. Mrs. Patterson, the neighborhood gossip, held up her phone, snapping photos. A group of teenagers on bikes stopped to watch. I stood there on my own front lawn, handcuffed like a criminal. Every neighbor who had waved at me for 3 years now stared at me like I was dangerous. Like I was a monster who hurt his wife. I could hear the whispers. I cannot believe it. He seemed so nice. You never know who people really are. I wanted to disappear. I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. This was my neighborhood. These were people I knew, and now they saw me as a domestic abuser. Then Madison stepped forward from the side of the house. She was laughing. Actually laughing. Holding her phone up, recording everything. Oh my God, babe, you should see your face right now. I froze. My brain could not process what I was hearing. Madison walked closer, her phone still pointed at me. This is gold. My followers are gonna die. Madison, I whispered, what are you doing? It is a prank. For my TikTok. She was grinning ear to ear like this was the funniest thing she had ever done. Officer Rodriguez turned to her, his face red with anger. Ma'am, are you saying there was no domestic violence incident? Of course not, Madison said casually. It is just a prank. Look, I am live streaming this. 1,500 viewers already. Officer Thompson stepped forward. You called 911 as a prank. Madison finally seemed to realize the officers were not amused. Well, yeah, I mean it is harmless. He is fine. I stood there still handcuffed, unable to speak. Shock, betrayal, humiliation, rage, all of it hit me at once. I looked at my wife. The woman I shared a bed with. The woman I had built a life with. And she was treating me like entertainment. Like I was not even a person. Like my dignity meant nothing. Officer Rodriguez's voice cut through the air. Ma'am, filing a false police report is a crime. You understand that? Madison stopped laughing. Wait, what? It is just a prank, officer. People do this all the time on TikTok. This is not TikTok, ma'am. This is real life. You wasted police resources. You made a false accusation of domestic violence. That is a misdemeanor. Madison's confident expression crumbled into fear. I did not mean it. It is just for content. Officer Rodriguez unlocked my handcuffs. The metal released from my wrists, leaving red marks behind. I stood there rubbing my skin, silent. I looked at Madison. The person I loved. The person who had just done this to me. For TikTok views. This is not a prank, I thought. This is who she really is. The officers turned their attention back to Madison. We will be filing a report. You may face charges. No, please. I did not know. Madison's voice cracked. She turned to me, tears forming. Babe, I am sorry. I did not think they would actually. I thought you would laugh. It is just like the other times I looked at her. Said nothing. turned around and walked into the house. Madison followed me inside, her voice rising. Beaumont, Beaumont, I am sorry. It was supposed to be funny. I walked straight to our bedroom, closed the door, locked it. Madison pounded on the wood. Please talk to me. I will delete the video. I will delete everything. I sat on the edge of the bed. My hands still shook. I could hear Madison crying on the other side of the door. I could hear neighbors still talking outside. I could hear my life shattering into pieces. She had me arrested. She filmed it. She laughed. She did this for likes. I sat there for 2 hours listening to her cry. And in that silence, I made 2 decisions. I would press charges, and I would file for divorce. Both would happen before sunrise. I did not sleep that night. I sat in the dark bedroom while Madison eventually stopped crying around midnight and fell asleep on the couch downstairs. I opened my laptop and started researching. Filing false police report consequences. Divorce lawyer Arizona. Pressing charges against spouse. The more I read, the clearer it became. This was not just a prank gone wrong. This was abuse. Emotional abuse. Public humiliation for entertainment. Using the police who deal with real domestic violence every day as props for social media clout. By 3 in the morning, I knew exactly what I had to do. This was not about revenge. It was about protecting myself. It was about making sure there were consequences for her actions. At 6:30 on Saturday morning, I packed a duffel bag with clothes, my laptop, and important documents. I snuck out of the house while Madison was still asleep and drove 40 minutes to my parents' house in Scottsdale. My mom, Sarah, opened the door, her face full of concern. Beaumont, what happened? I broke down. I told her everything. My dad, Robert, was furious. She did what my mom held me while I cried. I am so sorry, sweetheart. At 8 in the morning, I called Douglas Armstrong, a family friend who had practiced law for 25 years. Beaumont, good morning. What can I do for you? My voice was tired but determined. Douglas, I need to press charges against my wife, and I need to file for divorce. Today. There was silence on the line. Tell me everything. I explained the full story. When I finished, Douglas let out a long breath. Jesus Christ, Beaumont. I am so sorry. Yes, we can do both. This is actually a clear case on multiple fronts. Douglas explained that Madison could face false reporting to law enforcement, a Class 1 misdemeanor in Arizona. Penalties included up to 6 months in jail, a $2,500 fine, and probation. For the divorce, Arizona is a no-fault state, but emotional abuse could affect the settlement. I want both, I said firmly. She needs to understand this is not a game. I agree. I will contact the police department and get their report. We will file charges through the county attorney's office. For the divorce, I can have papers ready by this afternoon. We will serve her tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, Sunday, Beaumont, sooner is better. Before she has time to craft a narrative or delete evidence. Do it. Douglas also suggested filing for a temporary restraining order preventing Madison from contacting me or posting about me on social media. He asked if I wanted the house. I thought about it for a moment. No. Let her have it. I do not want anything that reminds me of her. Understood. I will have everything ready by 4 this afternoon. Come to my office. At 10 in the morning, I drove to the police station and asked for Officer Rodriguez. He came out to meet me. Mr. Beaumont, I was expecting your call. I want to press charges. Full extent of the law. Rodriguez nodded. I respect that. What your wife did was serious. Between you and me, I have been doing this 20 years. I have never seen someone so casual about wasting our time. He connected me with Detective Lisa Morris, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who handled these cases. She reviewed the body cam footage and told me Madison's behavior was disturbing. She recommended charges and said the county attorney would likely move forward. Madison would be charged within a week. "Thank you, detective," I said. For the first time in hours, I felt like justice was being served. At 4 in the afternoon, I sat in Douglas's office. He had the documents ready. Petition for dissolution of marriage. The grounds were listed clearly. Irretrievable breakdown of marriage. Pattern of emotional abuse. Reckless endangerment of respondent's reputation and safety. I read through the paperwork. Division of assets was fair. Madison would keep the house but had to refinance to buy me out. I would keep my retirement accounts. No children, thank God. I signed my name on the line. "This feels surreal," I said. "I know," Douglas replied. "But you are doing the right thing. The process server will deliver papers tomorrow at 8 in the morning. She will be shocked, but Beaumont, she made her choice." I nodded. "I know. I just cannot believe 4 years are gone because of TikTok." "No," Douglas said firmly. "Gone because she valued strangers' approval over your dignity." Sunday morning at 7:45, I drove back to the house with Douglas. We met the process server, a man named Terry, who had done this 1,000 times. He assured us he would handle it professionally. Douglas and I waited in the car. I watched as Terry walked to the door and knocked. 5 minutes passed. Then Madison opened the door. Her hair was messy, her eyes swollen, still in her robe. Hope lit up her face when she saw someone at the door. "Beaumont, Mrs. Madison." "Are you Madison?" "Yes, you have been served." Terry handed her the envelope. Madison looked confused. She opened it and read the first page. All color drained from her face. She looked up and spotted my car parked down the street. Madison ran toward us. "Beaumont, no, please." I got out of the car. Douglas had advised me this was okay. Madison reached me and grabbed my arm. "You cannot do this. It was just a prank. One mistake." I gently removed her hand from my arm. I looked her directly in the eye. My voice was calm, but firm. "Madison, you had me handcuffed, like a criminal. You filmed it. You streamed it. To 1,500 strangers. You laughed while I stood there humiliated in front of our neighbors. You used the police, who deal with real domestic violence, as props. You did all of this for likes, for views, for your TikTok." Madison was crying now. I know. It was stupid. But we can fix this. I will do anything." "It is too late, Madison. This was not one mistake. This was who you chose to be. You chose social media fame over my safety, my reputation, my dignity. That is not love. That is not marriage. That is abuse." Madison sank to the ground. "Please do not leave me. I already have." I paused, then added one more thing. "Oh, and you are being charged with filing a false police report. Criminal charges. You will be hearing from the county attorney." Her face went white. "You are pressing charges?" "Yes. I could go to jail." "You should have thought of that before you called 911 as a prank." I turned and walked back to the car. Behind me, Madison screamed, "You are ruining my life." I stopped, turned around one last time. "No, Madison, you ruined your own life. I am just refusing to let you ruin mine anymore." I got in the car. Douglas started the engine. As we drove away, I watched in the side mirror. Madison collapsed on the driveway. Terry stood there awkwardly. Neighbors were peeking out again. But this time I felt different. I felt liberated. Not revenge. Not anger. Just free. For the first time in 2 years, I did not feel like I was waiting for the next prank. The next humiliation. I felt like myself again. The following week, Madison was officially charged with false reporting to law enforcement. Her court date was set for 6 weeks later. The TikTok video had been screen recorded by someone and leaked online. It went viral, but not the way Madison had wanted. Comments flooded in, calling her disgusting, saying she belonged in jail, asking how anyone could do that to their husband. Her employer, the boutique, fired her. Your actions do not reflect our values, they told her. She lost sponsorships. She had to hire a criminal defense lawyer, which was expensive. Friends distanced themselves. Even her own mother called me to apologize. We are so sorry. We raised her better than this. The first month after leaving was not easy. I stayed with my parents for 2 weeks, then moved into a small one-bedroom apartment in downtown Phoenix. It was mine. No anxiety about pranks, no walking on eggshells, just peace. But some nights I was still angry. Angry at Madison for what she did. Angry at myself for not leaving sooner. I started seeing a therapist named Dr. Rachel Kim. She helped me work through betrayal trauma. What you experienced was public humiliation as emotional abuse. That is serious, she told me. I learned that I was not too sensitive. My boundaries were valid. Some jokes are just abuse disguised as humor. 6 weeks after I left, Madison went to court for her criminal trial. Her lawyer advised her to plead guilty and take a deal. She was sentenced to a $2,000 fine, 1 year of probation, 200 hours of community service mandatory counseling for impulse control, and a permanent record. The judge looked down at her from the bench. Miss Madison's social media is not an excuse to endanger, humiliate, or waste public resources. You are fortunate this is not jail time, Madison cried in the courtroom. I attended and sat in the back. I did not feel joy. I felt closure. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. It was uncontested because Madison did not fight it. We split assets fairly. She kept the house but had to refinance to buy me out. I kept my retirement accounts. When I signed the final papers with Douglas, he smiled. You did it. You stood up for yourself. I did I not? 6 months after the separation, my life looked completely different. I joined a gym and lost 15 pounds. I felt stronger. I took up rock climbing, something I had always wanted to try, but Madison thought was boring. I reconnected with college friends I had drifted away from. Game nights, hiking trips, normal life. Work was going well too. I got promoted to senior engineer. Some of my old neighbors reached out. Mr. Henderson called me. I am sorry we did not speak up sooner. We always thought something was off. The Garcia family sent a card. You deserved better. I realized that people had seen it. People had known something was wrong. But the public humiliation made them unsure how to help. I reflected on everything I learned. Boundary violations start small. Madison's harmless pranks were her testing my limits. Love should not cost you your dignity. Real partners build each other up, they do not tear each other down. Social media addiction is real. Madison valued virality over humanity. Walking away is strength, not weakness. You cannot fix someone who does not think they are broken. Standing up for yourself, even when it is hard, is self-love. I was proud of my decision. I had no regrets. I knew I did the right thing. 1 year after that Friday afternoon, I sit in my apartment on a peaceful weekend morning with a cup of coffee. I think about my journey. People ask me if I overreacted, if maybe I should have given her another chance, if pressing charges was too harsh. And here is what I tell them. She did not just prank me. She weaponized the justice system for entertainment. She turned my humiliation into content for strangers. She showed me in the clearest way possible that my dignity meant less to her than video views. So no, I did not overreact. I protected myself. And if you are in a relationship where you are the punchline, where your pain is someone else's comedy, where you are content and not a person, you deserve better. Walk away. Press charges if you need to. Rebuild. Because on the other side of that door, there is peace. And you deserve that. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a prank that crossed the line? Would you have handled this situation differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you have not already subscribed for more real-life stories about standing up for yourself, Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it reminds you that your dignity is never negotiable. Stay strong, and I will see you in the next one.